The first piece that we'd actually like to share with you is a piece from the Christian tradition. And it begs for peace. And many of you may know it. And if you do, please feel free to join in. It is the piece called Dona Nobis Pacem. Dona, give, nobis, us, pacem, peace. The Islamic world was the largest physical occupation of the most land for the longest time on the planet to date. It went from Malaysia to Spain, to Venice, all throughout Africa, India, Turkestan, Uzbekistan. And each area where it went picked up attunements of the spirituality of that area. And this piece comes from Andalusian, which is the portion of Spain where the Alhambra is found. It's the portion of Spain that borders on Gibraltar to the south, the Atlantic and the Mediterranean to the west and the east. So this is called the Andalusian zikr. The words La ilaha illallah mean simply, there's really nothing except God. There is no reality but God. my fervent hope that some of these tunes become earworms. In the German tradition, an earworm is a piece of music that burrows into your brain, and when you least expect it, in the middle of the night, or in the middle of some stress, or in the middle of something where your internal critic has called your travel agents booking a heavy guilt trip, something inside brings a piece of this kind of music from your heart to your brain and your soul, and lets you nudge away the shoulda, oughta, gotta that are so intensely common to our condition. So may these infect you and become part of you deep down inside. That's how they're used in their tradition. They are some fragments designed to pop back in when you least expect it. Kind of like R-O-L-E-S, N-E-S-T-L-E-S, and this makes the very good. The next piece comes from the Jewish tradition, and it's the same exact phrase in Hebrew. And the words are Echad, Yahid, Umi, Yuchad. Echad, Yahid, Umi, Yuchad. The one, every single one, each one joined and united in the one. The one, every single one, each one joined and united in the one. Taste the similarity of spirit.
Sufi choir. I see through the window a van with lights on. If it's yours, you might want to go fix it.
First, I wanted to thank you very much for inviting our choir to be with you again this Easter. It's a delight to have been here so often over the years and to share our eclectic joy in singing to the divine by so many different names and through so many different traditions. The choir, let me just tell you a little bit about it. First of all, to set the stage for it, understand that it is made up of people who just like to sing. There are no tryouts, there are no shoulds, there's no dogma, there's no anything attached to it except for a desire to open your heart to the spirit that rejoices when it sees the swallows come, and to let that spirit flow through you and resonate through your vocal cords and through your whole body. The goal of the choir is to sing to the divine presence. We sometimes forget and sing to each other, or we think we're singing to the audience, but the goal is to sing to that spark of the divine in each of you, and hopefully have our resonance with the joy of being attuned to it spread a little bit, to plant seeds that come from the wisdom school traditions of many different religions. The nature of universal Sufism is that it is a wisdom school that looks at the common denominators between the different spiritual traditions instead of the differences. And it explores them, and it focuses on on stealing unabashedly any practice that raises the soul to a higher place from any of these traditions. In the East, the Sufis are known as the yellow robe bandits because they steal spiritual practices and they wear the yellow robe of the spiritual seeker. As we prepared for today's presentation, a very strange thing happened. We usually work very hard to broad, spread out Hindu, Native American, Christian, Islamic, Buddhist, Taoist music in our concert. But what kept happening with this one was that three themes kept emerging and insisting upon being sung. And the first theme is the Islamic theme of La ilaha illallah. There is not a God world and a not God world. It is an all God world. It is unity of the divine. You are extended from the original Unitarians, as opposed to the Trinitarians, as opposed to the seeing God in the cup, rather seeing the wine in the cup and seeing many different cups and worshiping the wine, not necessarily the cup. That the nature of the divine is oneness. That's your history. That's your background. That is the message that came through Muhammad, and that is the message that believe it or not, the unity of the spiritual ideal is the prime message of Islam. It's not being practiced the way we read it in the newspapers today. But perhaps that's why we were so inclined to present this program, number one, with the theme of the heart of Islam and some of its music. Number two, the theme and the heart of Judaism and the heart of its music, and so that perhaps you can feel the similarities between the two. And number three, the Christian theme as well. And a fourth theme that trickles in the background is one of healing. So in this time and place, what we'd like to share with you is an attunement to the heart space of Islam, Christianity, and Judaism, and the overall sense of healing that God willing will happen in this family of Abraham. So it's our custom when we begin to do anything, to say an invocation. No one knows what name to call the divine. I mean, how can a fruit fly name the world? I mean, it just, we use lots of different names for the divine. And in this piece, we refer to the Spirit as the Spirit of guidance that is inherent within all beings. And we invoke that presence for the rest of our concert. So this is the invocation. Now we move to Zimbabwe. And for this piece, I'm going to really invite you to join in on part of it. That's very simple and that will add tremendously to the depth of the piece. This is a community-sung remembrance of the unity of God, of the principle of the oneness of God. And it's sung to the words again, La ilaha illallah. There is nothing except God, from Zimbabwe. This is one of our more fun pieces.
La ilaha illallah, illallahu Allah. 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 La ilaha illallah,
We never know how we're going to end that because it essentially doesn't want to end. It's a really hard piece to end. This next piece comes from a fellow named Munir up in the Pacific Northwest, and it is in the Christian tradition. And the phrase is "Da Pacem Domine," "Give peace, Lord, give peace." And it's a simple three-part round that we'd just like to share with you this time. This, I think, next to the last piece, isn't a song. One of my teachers recommended after I retired that I not replace the TV that had been broken 2 years before, and that I use my time in some other way. She recommended that I take a half an hour of quiet time twice a day. Now, that's a big order for somebody who's used to scurrying around doing things. And being the anal compulsive that I am, if you know any physician who's not anally compulsive, you're in trouble. It's a little bit of that you got to have. And so I set an alarm, or I set a kitchen timer for my half an hour, right? And because I didn't want to think about it, you know, and I just wanted it to tell me when my half hour was up. And of course, the half an hour was terribly important. Well, as I'm sitting there quiet in my living room, the kitchen timer is going. And I remember a prayer for healing given by Hazrat Inayat Khan, the man who brought Universal Sufism from the east to the west 100 years ago. And that prayer I always wanted to put to motion. It's a wonderful prayer. It goes, "Beloved Lord, Almighty God, through the rays of the sun, through the waves of the air, through thy all-pervading life in space, purify and revivify me. And I pray, heal my body, heart, and soul." Well, I started to do that prayer to the background of... and this is what happened.
Beloved Lord, Almighty God, through the rays of the sun, through the waves of the air, through thy all-pervading life in space, purify and revivify me, and I pray, heal my body, heart, and soul. Beloved Lord, Almighty God, through the rays of the sun, through the waves of the air, through thy all-pervading life in space, purify and revivify me, and I pray, heal my body, heart, and soul. Beloved Lord, Almighty God, through the rays of the sun, through the waves of the air, through thy all-pervading life in space, purify and revivify me, and I pray, heal my body, heart, and soul. Beloved body, heart, Almighty God, through the rays of the sun, through the waves of the air, through thy all-pervading life in space, purify and revivify me, and I pray, heal my body, heart, and soul. Beloved body, heart, Almighty God, heal the rays of the sun, through the waves of the air, heal my all-pervading life in space, purify and revivify me, and I pray, heal my body, heart, and soul. Beloved Lord, Almighty God, through the rays of the sun, through the waves of the air, through thy all-pervading life in space, purify and revivify me, and I pray, heal my body, heart, and soul.
Now, can you march to that?
Yes! That's the whole thing. The interesting part of it is that when you're chanting that, it's really hard to stay indoors. And when you walk to it, beloved Lord, Almighty God, you can. I was in Germany when the polish of this kind of came to the sound of it, and a friend and I went out walking and talking, and we walked for about a half an hour, Suhan, and we got to this way far away, and we needed to get back, and we only had 15 minutes to get back before our meeting started, and we switched into this and walked back and made it early for the meeting. And there wasn't any sense of hurry. It was just this wonderful energetic flow. I do a fair amount of teaching in this tradition, and this is one of the things that I teach for people to help get outside and move.
You think you get the Jesuits?
I'd be willing to try.
We actually have, we do a fair number of Jesuit dances in the Dances of Universal Peace that happen here on the first, third, and fifth Sunday nights right in this space each month. So the Jesuits are tuned into much of this. It's interesting. So, okay, that's the Hijaz chant. The prayer is called Hijaz. This next piece it's a very short piece that comes from, we think time went, we're right on. It comes from Hijaz. It comes from an area of Saudi Arabia. That actually is the province that holds Mecca and Medina, and is the province around which the movie Lawrence of Arabia was made. That happened in Hijaz in Saudi Arabia, if you remember that movie back in the 60s. So this is the Hijaz scale zikr, and again, it uses the phrase Allah for calling upon the divine. The translation of Allah, Allah is in Arabic, painting with a broad brush, it is the yes and the no. It is the good and the bad. It is the past and the present, the future, the past and the ongoing, ever present. It is the all-inclusive. It is the all-inclusiveness of being, both positive and negative, in one bundle. So the Allah Hijaz scale zikr.
Allah, 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 la ilaha illallah, Allah, 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 la ilaha illallah,
piece that uses the words as-salam, as-salam. In the Arabic language, one greets another by saying as-salamu alaykum, peace be with you. And the response is wa alaykum as-salam, and peace be with you. In the Jewish culture, you greet people with shalom alaykum, and the response is shalom alaykum, peace be with you, and peace be with you. Both languages coming from the same root language of Aramaic, which was the language that Jesus spoke when he walked the planet. And the name for God that Jesus used in Aramaic, interestingly, is Allah. Allah. That was the name for the all-inclusive being in his native language. So we sing this song, As-salamu alaykum. We sing it, and as we've sung it more and more, I recognize that I have a little problem sometimes. I get very mental. And when I'm signing emails, what do you put down at the bottom of an email? After you finish writing your name, what do you put down? You put down, sincerely. Well, you know what sincerely means? Sincerely is Latin, comes from Latin, sinceros. It means without wax. The same word is cerumen, the wax in your ears, okay? And sin without Saros wax. So, I send you this message without wax. I mean, I'm not polishing it, it's just real, okay? It's just without wax. But somehow that leaves a little to be desired in the stage of communication that I wish to pursue. So what do we say? What is it the heart calls us to say? And I would suggest it's a great place for simply, peace be with you. Peace be with you. To the depth of your being, may peace be with you. So as you listen to this, let the peace of the beauty of this come into your heart. And the next time you send an email, think of putting peace be with you. Just Assalam from a British fellow named Nkomo.